All right, evening out there. How's everybody doing? So, we've got a bunch of different projects that we can work on tonight. And I'm not really sure which one to start on. I have a lot of Union Pacific Armor Yellow on my layout right at this very moment. This is the first project we've got to work on tonight. This is a friend of mine's, Kato Union Pacific AC 4400. And I'm about halfway through putting sound in and LEDs, redoing some of the lighting functions so that they'll work separately. The way Kato has them set up from the factory is they all run off of a single bulb. So we're doing what we can here to kind of enhance the lighting functions here. And then if we get that finished, I've got a whole nother Armor Yellow MP15 that we'll pull out of the box and start working on as well. That one actually belongs to Bill from My Finger Lakes Railway Layout. He did a wonderful video showing his how-to on how he weathered the locomotive, and then he sent it up here for me to put sound in. So should be cool. Hi Ed. Yeah, I'm on my external mic tonight, so I'm not sure why it seems low. I'll put it a little closer. Maybe that'll work. Let me know if it's sounding any better. I'm just kind of hoping to enhance the audio. I noticed that was kind of lackluster in the stream replay I did last week. Walking away from the camera, you could barely hear me. So let me know if this is any better. Who else we got out here? So we got Matt out here. Yeah, hey, how's it going, Matt? This is this is Matt's locomotive that's on the workbench right now. So, and then we got Ray out there. Hey, Ray, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. And then we got Tim. Hey, Tim. Hope the op session at Ned's went well for you. Didn't really hear a ton, but everything that I did hear was that it was positive. So, be interested to hear how things went for you. And then we got Rick out there as well. Mr. Rubino, glad you're all here. Hey, Bill's here himself too. Cool. Oh, Dennis is here too. Wow, we got quite a few people out here in the chat for one of my streams. This is pretty cool. Okay, so let's dive into this project. Let's see how far we can get with it. The one thing I didn't do is bring home the wiring diagram that I need to make sure that I wire these lighting functions in properly. So I'm going to get that pulled up on my spare phone here. Tsunami. Wiring diagram. I got the A team of subscribers here tonight. Yeah, heck yeah, I do, Ed. Every subscriber's part of the A team here at Paul Stamp's Finger Lakes Railway. We appreciate them all. Okay, so let's see if I can get the right wiring diagram up here. Of course, started working on this up at the club, the Genesee Society of Model Engineers, and then Totally forgot to bring the wiring diagram home with me. Let's just double check that this is the right one. Let's see, FX4. No, I don't think this is the right one. I don't do a lot of work on Tsunami decoders anymore. So this has been an interesting adventure. Let's see if this is gonna work for me here. Wiring diagram. Okay, this is TSU. I think we're getting closer here. BLU. Oh, that's the Blue Nami. That's a whole bunch of fun. I know Rick out there. He loves the Blue Nami decoders. So Dennis, awesome that you're tuning in from the train club. Is your club, Dennis, also N scale, or is the club an HO scale club? Let's see. Okay, so this has got to be the right ones. Okay, yes, headlight and backup. That I do remember being correct in the wiring diagram I was looking at yesterday. So we're gonna roll with it. Okay, so first things first, really, the big thing we've got to do here is get our common positives all wired into a resistor, and then we'll be able to get that wired into the decoder. But because there's no flashing going on with these wires, it should be pretty easy to just run them all off of one resistor. Oh, that's cool that your club is both, Dennis. We have Genesee Society of Model Engineers. We have a multi-scale club too. We actually have two different O-scale layouts. We've got a tin plate sort of post-war style Lionel layout, and then we've got a high rail, which is kind of more detailed, and then we've got an HO scale layout, and then we've got just a really small, kind of almost demonstration style N scale layout that it's not much, but it's something to at least represent to the N scale. We don't have a massive N scale contingent in our club, but we pride ourselves on being a multi-scale club, and kind of inclusive to all the scales, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Newburgh Model Railroad Club. Okay, cool. Was your club putting on the train show that was this past weekend, or was that a different organization that was putting on that show? Thanks, Bill, for telling everybody to hit the like button. Appreciate that. Definitely appreciate anybody who's willing to hit the like button for sure. Okay, so we've got the common positives all soldered together here. I am going to cut up a little piece of heat shrink tubing to pop over the resistor. And then I'm gonna just kind of slide that over the wires and out of the way for now. And then I'm gonna take my resistor, and because I don't need, I'm gonna have so much extra wire in here just based off of that stuff that I'm actually gonna nip off a little bit of the resistor itself here. I'm gonna go ahead and tin this side of it just so that it goes on a little easier. And now we can, ooh, careful, don't want to drag the whole shell off these wires. Okay, so you're in a couple of different clubs. Wow, cool. And they're in the old Hyde Park station. Very cool, very cool. There's a club up here in the Syracuse area, the Central New York Railroad Historical Society. They are in an old New York Central station on the Auburn Road. And of course, the Auburn Road is part of what I model for the Finger Lakes. And they also model the Finger Lakes on the bottom deck of their club as well, which is pretty neat. I am pretty close friends with a couple of their members now. And one of the guys is just, gosh, one of the most talented, detail-oriented modelers that I've ever met in my entire life. The guy, he had scratch built all of the New York or the Finger Lakes GP38s, which anybody who's familiar with the roster knows that there's very unique intricacies with those locomotives. He had scratch built all of those, brought them here to my layout when I had an op session to show them to me. I was very fascinated, but he liked my B23 roster so much while he was here that he decided he was going to go home and build the entire B23-7 roster as well. So we got that done. He also built the GP9 that they now have in service, and he's got the entire active roster of Finger Lakes locomotives in HO scale. So that's pretty cool. Sorry, my dogs, if you can hear them in my microphone, are absolutely tearing up the the upstairs. So apologize if you guys can hear that, but we'll let them enjoy themselves. Okay, so our common positive is going to be the blue wire here, so that's what we're going to end up connecting our resistor to. So let me just get that wire prepped and ready to go here. Usually I don't wear gloves for wiring like this, but I knew that there was going to be a possibility we were messing around with other things tonight. So I made sure I just put them on so that I didn't forget later in the show. Actually, heck, I can kind of just show people now if you guys really want to see what's cooking. The one personal project I have, you can kind of see it off camera here, but this is a B23-7 that's I bought undecorated, and it's in primer. This is actually going to be the last piece of the puzzle for me to have the full roster of B23-7s here on the layout. This is going to end up being Finger Lakes Railway 2308, which is an ex-Southern high hood that went through the chop nose rebuild program. It came to the Finger Lakes via the Camas Prairie short line. It came to the Finger Lakes in that scheme. It's a really neat scheme. It's kind of a black long hood with a yellow cab and a bunch of other stuff. So that's the scheme I'm going to model it in. Right now we've got it in primer. If we have time tonight, I might start working on, doing some of the masking so that I can get the initial coat of yellow on that, which should be pretty exciting. But for now, I'm focused on Mr. Matt and Mr. Bill here in the chat's locomotives so that we can get them done and get them back on their own layouts so that they can enjoy them themselves. Okay, where did my heat shrink tubing go? Oh. There's never a short supply of that stuff on this layout or on this workbench, so even when it goes missing, there's more right around the corner. Yeah, this locomotive I'm working on for Matt here, I was really actually hoping to have it done last night. And you know what? I'll admit that I am not a a professional by any means. I am not a perfect modeler. I was working on this at the club last night, and I made a boneheaded move. I forgot as I was getting it all wrapped up and wired and ready to test to put this resistor in line with the LEDs. So I put it down on the test track. I hit one of the function buttons, and all of a sudden I just saw one of the LEDs just glow really, really bright and then fizzle right out. And I realized immediately, oh no, I forgot to put the resistor in line. So I cut my losses for the night last night and decided I'd just bring it home to work on today. So moral of the story, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days, as the millennials may recognize that quote. Okay, positives done. Should be ready to roll here. Now I just need to worry about getting each of these individual functions wired up to the right colored wire. Just put a decoder in your C425 this week. Awesome. What is that, a Conrail C425? Is that what you got? Hi, Scott. I think I know you by indirect ties. I've been told by Rick Rubino that you're pretty good friends with Brian with Mountain Sub Hobbies, and I also know Brian. So glad to have you in the chat, Scott. Okay, so let's pull our wiring diagram back up here. Yes, it did also make a pop, Matt, because yeah, that was boneheaded. There was a lot of people talking, and I was trying to be a part of the conversation, much like I am tonight, while I was working. And sometimes that can be a dangerous combination, but at least I've got, at this point, 12 supervisors in the chat. You guys can let me know if I'm doing something wrong here before anything goes awry. Scott, that's awesome. Yeah, I've known Brian now, geez, probably almost 10 years. I've kind of more seriously got into model railroading after I graduated high school. Actually, I got into model railroading on a serious scale in 2015. So yeah, it's actually been 9 years, but one of the first locomotives I ever did a sound install on, I bought the decoder from Brian, and I bought the wrong one. So I got to know Brian really, really quick because he kind of helped walk me through, made sure I got the right thing moving forward. And, you know, the positive experience that I had with him at that point was enough to make me keep buying from him. Met him in person at one of the Rochester shows. Always make sure to say hi to him at shows. Been to a couple operating sessions with him. And eventually he's supposed to get out to my layout to operate. So hopefully that'll happen soon too. Okay, so let's see here. We just turned up the green wire. That's gonna be our either our number boards or our ditch lights. So let's see which one of those I can get a hold of here. This might be a part of the show where Paul goes a little bit quiet just because he needs to concentrate. And apparently talk in the third person as well. Okay, here's my headlight. That's good to know. This should be ditch light. here. Perfect. And I think I'm going to do number boards first, just because it's the hardest one to access. Okay, actually this one is number boards. Let's just double check that. Yes, because we've got a nose mounted headlight and roof mounted number boards. Interesting combination. Okay, so let's get a piece of heat shrink tubing prepped on here. Get this one connected, sealed up. Come on. Should be using the helping hands for this, but here I am not using them because sometimes I'm a bonehead. Okay, we're good. Very cool, Dennis, that you're celebrating 13 years of serious model railroading. For those that don't know, I've had some pretty cool talks with Dennis over the last couple of months about our paths in model railroading, and both as younger modelers. Dennis a little bit younger than me, but I think the two of us are going to make a pretty potent duo here at the Springfield convention. We're going to be both working the NMRA booth at different times on Saturday and then together on Sunday, and hopefully inspiring a bunch of younger model railroaders to join the NMRA or at least get more involved in their local modeling communities. So really excited about that, and I think Dennis is too. I don't want to speak for him too much, but seems like he is. Okay, so we've got the number boards done. What's next here? Let's look at the wiring diagram. So brown is going to be our other accessory. So let's just get the ditch lights done here as well. Glad to know you're as excited as I am, Dennis. I've also been talking with Dennis about a couple of other programs that I'm hopeful that we can incorporate into the NMRA that I can't really go into detail about yet publicly, but hey, hopefully maybe soon. Maybe we'll get the chance to talk Gordy's ear off at the convention or at Springfield, and we'll just get that whole program kick-started. But pretty cool nonetheless. Okay, so ditch lights. We have this one. Yes, that's ditch lights there. Oh, we gotta put on some shrink tubing first. Oh, that's right, Ed. Yeah, we get to share the booth with you. I think our Sunday shift, Dennis, is going to be with Ed, so that'll be exciting. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to meet Ed, but he is a awesome force for the what would you call it, the subsection of model railroading that is operations. It is, I don't know. Would you say that's your biggest passion in the hobby, Ed? From my perspective, it seems like it is for sure. Oh, do we have Ed O'Rourke with us too? Dennis, I didn't even see that far. Awesome that you met him at Ops Till You Drop, or Ops Till You Drop. I really wanted to go to that Ops Till You Drop. I didn't. I kind of signed up too late, and then I got the chance due to a cancellation to go if I wanted to, but it was just such short notice that I felt like I was just kind of forcing it into fruition, and that never ends up working out well. So I just said, you know what? I think it's time to just plan on going next year. Dennis, we'll have to get you up. And I'm the ops guy. Yep, you sure are, Ed. Dennis, we'll have to get you up. Ed coordinates the Rochester version of Ops Till You Drop. The Ops Around the Clock is what we call it. So we'll have to get you up for that so that you can check out the Rochester area layouts, mine included, whenever we end up having that. So, and then, yeah, for those that don't know, other exciting news, Ed and I are running for office in the Lake Shores Division this year. In a couple of weeks, we have our division meeting. Ed is going to be running for superintendent of the division, and I'm going to be running for assistant superintendent. So we're both really excited. We've talked a lot at length about our different ideas for how to make the Lake Shores a better division, and I think between the two of us, boy, we're gonna be moving and shaking for sure. Okay, all that's left is the headlight now, and that is the white wire over here. Let me double check that. Yes, okay. So let me get that one tinned. A power duo. Yeah, that's us, right, Ed? Dave Durr, who is the outgoing superintendent, he's been an amazing superintendent for at least the year that I've been a member of the Lake Shores, and by all accounts, everybody I talked to says that he's been a really great superintendent for a longer time period than that. So Ed's stepping up into big shoes from the assistant superintendent role, and I'm stepping up into Ed's big shoes too. Hey, Rob's here. What's going on, buddy? Glad you're here. Rob, we're talking about the Lake Shores Division and the big changes. Rob is also involved in the executive team of the Lake Shores, so he should be scared because Ed and I are gonna shake things up. Not really shake things up, but we've got some exciting plans for sure. All right, let's bring this project home. So I'm not going to actually button this thing up on camera because I want to make sure that I test it well before I do so. And that's going to involve turning on the layout, which is not on, and it's going to involve a lot of off-camera boring stuff that isn't worth your time out there in YouTube land. So we'll pivot right to next project. For what it's worth, I don't think that I mentioned this, but the decoder in here, I did mention the decoder. It's a Tsunami 2 decoder. Purchased from Mountain Sub Hobbies, Brian. And then there's a scale sound system speaker in the fuel tank. Rob, this is Matt Jacobus's AC 4400. I started working on it at the club last night, installing sound and scale sound system speaker, and I'm just buttoning it up tonight. I figured it was a good live stream project to work on. I did say Brian. Brian with a Y, though, Rob, not Brian with an I. And we don't need to tell people in this live stream chat why that's a joke. Thank you. Oh no, I just realized as I was lifting this up that we never did the rear headlight. So let's get that done real quick. Okay, fine. Sorry, Rob. Not every little personal detail of my personal life has to be on YouTube. Okay, I think it's the yellow one. Yes, backup light is yellow. Oh, oh, Scott, I don't know about that. I can't go into much more detail without giving away the reason that's a joke to Rob, though. Hey, Paul's here too. Paul, I'm glad to see you here. Paul, I am so freaking excited for Saturday. On Saturday of this week, we're gonna be moving and shaking again, putting together a big project for all of the members of the Genesee Society of Model Engineers and for myself on this YouTube channel. It's going to be a fun adventure that we are embarking on starting Saturday. A modular adventure. And Paul here is going to be a massive help for me and the rest of the Genesee Society of Model Engineers club members who are taking the leap into modular model railroading. Fremo bros. Rob, you are anything but a thorn in my side, my friend. You are a huge help. You are a close confidant anytime I have destructive ideas like the one I shared with you yesterday. Anything but a thorn, my friend. Come on, heat shrink. Oh no, now you're gonna shrink not on the thing. Okay, here we go. It's sliding right off where I want it to stay. Come on. Stay put, please. The dog must be obeyed. Louis must be obeyed. You guys see how much Bronco and Belle end up making it into my videos. It's dogs are very important members of the decision-making hierarchy in my household. Okay, I think we're good. Got everything wired. I will test this thing out as soon as we're off camera, but I really am excited to tear into the next project here as well. So hopefully, Bill, you're still out there watching, because we're gonna tear into your project here now. And just make sure I put this AC44 somewhere safe. So the ditch light housings that you see here in my set of helping hands, they are for, like I said previously, yet another armor yellow locomotive that we're going to be working on tonight. I've been joking. Let's tear into it. I've been joking the last couple of weeks and months with close friends and you know, in my content, if you saw that short I made for Halloween, that I couldn't seem to shake Elcos on my workbench, and now it seems that Elcos have been replaced with Union Pacific Armor Yellow, because that's what we're tearing into now. This is an ex-Union Pacific built for the Southern Pacific, MP15. This is one of two that the Finger Lakes Railway in real life is leasing at the moment, although I've heard that the eventual plan is at least 396 is to buy that, but they've got to buy the Jeeps that they own, or the Jeeps that they have in Finger Lakes paint first. Bill, let's not tear into it. Yeah, okay. I guess I can appease you there, Bill. I won't tear into it. I will responsibly unscrew the coupler boxes and take the shell off and then gut it. So actually, the first thing we're going to do before we even open up the locomotive is going to be to continue to prep the ditch light housings that we have here. So these are actually Scale Sound Systems ditch light housings. They're actually really, really nice housings. Hopefully, let me make sure that you guys can see this, but these are super nice housings, very well detailed. Scale Sound Systems, they actually send them out with lenses, which is really nice. I've been using a lot of the Wallace Locomotive Works ditch light housings recently as well, and they don't send those ones out with lenses, which can be a little bit of a disadvantage. You can buy them separately without much of a problem, but they are the Scale Sound System ones I like. I really like the Wallace ones though too. They're incredibly well detailed. He does a phenomenal job with those. The really nice thing is he gets those things sent to me super fast. I actually have a set coming for my 2308 project that should be here like tomorrow, and they just shipped yesterday, which is really awesome. The Scale Sound Systems ones, while they're nice, do take a little bit longer to show up. If any of you have watched the video that I did on how to install ditch lights on any HO scale locomotive, this is a very similar process. The only thing that's done differently here is that these housings take a little bit more prep because they're plastic. Because they're not a metal molded housing, you can end up with a ton of light bleed off of these things. So these things have been shot with a layer of primer. I use this True Color Paint light primer. So that's the first coat that went on. And then the next coat that went on is, let me see if I can find it here. Where is it? Oh, over here. The next coat that went on is a layer of True Color Dark Gray, which is actually SP gray, but it is very close, as you can see, to what's on the pilot here. And if I need to, I can go back in just with a hand brush and touch it up, lighten it up once they're on the locomotive if I'm not super impressed with how it matches. So no big deal if it's not perfect. I should be able to get everything taken care of. TCS is king for we've got Rob and Dennis, you two are the two biggest N scalers I know. I'm glad that you two get to be in the live chat tonight with each other because you two could be a dangerous force for N scale together. I'll tell you that much. Okay, where was I? Anyway, geez, I'm getting so distracted here. Don't worry, Bill, I won't ruin anything because I'm distracted. Okay, so like I said, these are the housings. I'm going to pop them off of there just with a pair of rail nippers. They should come right off the supports. See, they come off so easy, they actually sometimes can fly right off. And you can see we've got a bunch of depth there. I may even end up having to trim these down so that they're a little bit shorter. There's kind of two different molded cutoff points for these things. I'm going to leave them at the longest setting for now just until I verify what depth they really need to be based on prototype images. But for now, we'll just leave them as long as they can be. This is something that takes a little bit of precision, so forgive me for going quiet on the live stream. I know it's not the most entertaining thing, but let's see. Let's see if we can get a little bit of ASMR going here. Can you hear the snip? Nice. Came off smoothly. Would have been real goofy if I was messing around and something didn't come off right there. Rob, Dennis is from Poughkeepsie is where you are now, Dennis. Is that correct? He's the guy I was talking to you about him the other day. He went to RPI and was in that club. And I got to talk to him about kind of that experience and you know how involved the Hudson Berkshire division is with that club, which is really cool. That's something that I really want to start to try to incorporate here in the Lake Shores division, getting members of the RIT club more involved. So, yeah. And Rob, he also knows, yes, he was. And then he also knows, who was the guy that I connected you and Jeff with at the convention? Was it Greg? No. Oh, man. I can't remember who the guy's name was, but he's, knows Dennis very well. Yeah, he was the guy who was talking about having multiple different modular N scale layouts. He had T-track, he had N-track, just about any modular N you could think of. He was deeply involved with. So I connected him with Jeff to talk more. But Dennis also knows him, and I can't remember what is his name. Yes, yeah. RPI is in the Hudson Berkshire, so that's where you originally joined, right, Dennis? And you're now in the Hudson Valley region. Okay, I knew I wasn't too crazy. Okay, so we got those all cut out. Next step here is pretty simple. We're just going to wire in or set in place our LEDs. I have these already pre-prepped. These SMD LEDs have been all I do is take a little dab of super glue, dip the LED into it, and then touch it to the back of the lens and let it dry. And it'll dry like this, and they're ready to go into the housing, which is super, super easy. This is, yeah, it's all included in my my how-to guide if you ever need to do ditch lights. So very similar process. So let's string them on through, and then I'll show you what to do next once we've got them all in. This is a very small project that we're kind of working with here, so it might be tough for me to let you guys see it well on camera, but I'll do my best here. I may also need to bite the bullet and take these gloves off just to be able to have the dexterity I need to do this. There we go. Now we're working our way in there. Dang it. All right, we're going to have to circle back on that one. I think I need to file down a little bit of excess super glue on that in order to get it to work. I'll see if I can show you on one of these. Let's see. There's a little less excess super glue on this one. Yeah, Bob. Yeah. Thanks, Dennis. So I think, Dennis, you just built a T-Track module, right? For your club. You guys just had that whole big competition. I know Rob's just got his hands in just about every modular N scale medium that there is. I think he's got some Fremo N stuff. He's got some T-Track stuff. He's got some N-Track stuff. There's a little bit of everything going on at Rob's house. Man, slowly but surely I'm working my way in on these. These, they take a little bit of time. Sometimes it's not the most riveting content, but there we go. Okay, so you can see it's now in there nice and flush. So the next part of the process is actually going to be building up kind of a backing in the back side of this so that we can ensure that there's not going to be light bleed there. I use Testors clear part cement when I'm doing this part of the process. And basically, I'm just going to kind of squirt a dab into the back here, let it dry, and then I come in, my initial coat of paint on the back side of it is actually going to be with some Testors enamel metallic silver. And basically what that's going to do is actually make it look like inside the housing is mirrored like it would be on the real thing. So then I let that metallic silver layer dry, and then I go over the back of it probably with like 2 to 3 coats of just straight black paint in some capacity. I've got a couple of different blacks that I like to use. The last locomotive that I did, ditch lights on, the 1804 that you might have seen video of, I used golden acrylic carbon black, and this stuff, holy cow, I was so impressed with how good a coverage that I got with this stuff because it's just so pigment rich. I only needed to do 1 or 2 coats of the black, and then I was good to go. There was no issues at all after that was done. No light bleed at all. Usually I end up, once everything's installed, correcting just a little bit of light bleed, but holy cow, this stuff was spectacular. I didn't have to worry about it at all. Okay, sorry about that. I went to go check my phone and completely locked it once I did and closed out the live stream. I don't know why we're not faced the right way now for some reason. Well, I guess it really doesn't matter for you guys, does it? Okay, so sorry. Yeah, Rob, I mean, I kind of bought that stuff based on your recommendation. It's pretty good. Now, the nice thing about having so many resistors, and this is where I'm really going to get exposed as a very janky, a very janky modeler. But the nice thing about having so many spare resistors, because you actually use ESU for everything, is that they work really well to unclog all of the different glues that you've got that you forget to leave the caps on. All right, Kevin, I'll try to flip it up. Let's see. Let's see if it's gonna work now. Come on, rotate. Sorry, everybody. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I hope you don't either, Dennis. I know you've kind of, I think you're using OBS for yours through your computer. It seems like I've stopped by a couple of times. I should probably talk more than I do when I stop by, but yeah, you've got a good setup going there. I'm hoping to kind of have that sort of setup sometime in the near future. I was talking to Rob about it today because Rob's a pretty talented guy in Photoshop as well. So I'm gonna have him help me when he's got time with creating a new stream overlay and help me get OBS up and running myself so that it'll look a little bit better. That's awesome, John. I'm glad to know I'm not the only one flying by the seat of my pants here. Okay, so that's one of these done. Once I have the glue in here, yeah. Once I have the glue in here, I like to just let them dry, kind of face the lens facing down so that the glue sits in there as best it can. So I'm just going to kind of set it over the set of helping hands here so that it's in the right orientation. I'm going to let that dry for about 24 hours before I even touch it again. Rob is pretty amazing. He's a good friend to have. Rob, if anybody doesn't know, is also the person that made my wonderful logo that I have here for Paul Stamps Finger Lakes. He also did one that was very similar for Tierline Customs, when that's the way the channel is branded as well. And eventually, I'm also going to have him do some additional marketing material for me as well. Wow, that one went in way easier than any of the other ones have, surprisingly. Awesome. All right, so let's get the glue on this one. Hey, Rob needs it to go to his head, okay? Rob deserves to get gassed up, Ed. I didn't say gaslit either. We can figure out how to do that from time to time though too. I am the Finger Lakes Relic. Oh, look at that. My glove just totally ripped on me. That's nuts. Wow. Oh, okay. Guess that one's done. Was that supposed to be Emperor Palpatine-esque there, Rob? Should I have read that in his voice? I am the Senate. Okay, I should have one more wire and one more housing. Oh boy, where'd they go? Oh, now we get to really see how chaotic a modeler Paul is here. Really getting exposed. Okay, here's the housing. Where's the LED? I wish I could say that this is not a common thing that happens here, but man, my ADHD is sometimes a dangerous game gets played where I can't remember where anything is. I found it though. Never gets far. Just takes me a minute to find it. As my dad would say, nothing's ever lost. I just have to find it. Wow, okay. 3 out of the 4 of these these lenses just went in super easy. I don't know why that first one is being such a pain in the neck, but oh well. There is a chance just because, you know, as the glue settles, it'll get down into the housing a little bit further. There is a chance that you might need to do more than one coat of the glue. I'll kind of see how things go as I'm keeping an eye on things, and then if it needs another coat later down the road, after this first one's dry, I'll do that myself before I get too far into painting or anything like that. So, okay, so let's readdress this first housing that was for some reason a pain in the neck. I've got spare LEDs galore if it needs to be reset. I've got spare lenses as well if I need them as well. So it's no big loss if this thing doesn't pan out. But let's just see. I think there's just a little bit of excess glue here. So let's see if I can just ever so carefully file that off. And the other nice thing about using this Tester's Clear Part Cement is that it's incredibly forgiving if there's a goof up down the road. It stays kind of tacky, not tacky, what's the word? Pliable. It stays pliable in the housing. So if for some reason you accidentally blew an LED because you forgot a resistor, ask me if I know about that one. You can pretty easily disassemble these and re-glue them in with the proper wiring and redo the housings pretty easily. So it's really forgiving stuff, which is nice. You don't have to worry about, you don't have to stress about it too much if you goof up. The whole process is pretty easy. Anybody can do it. So easy, a caveman can do it. Okay, yeah, it was just that little piece of excess glue that was a problem. So now that we've got it in place, we can glue it in. And we'll leave it there to dry. So with that side of things done, we've still got plenty of time here tonight. I'm going right till 9 o'clock. So we're actually going to dive into the gutting process of this locomotive. I'm going to throw it in the cradle. We're going to get a screwdriver out. I'm going to put a new glove on before I forget about it because I don't want to mess up Bill's wonderful weathering job at all. He did a spectacular job on this thing. I was very impressed when I took it out of the box. I do enjoy weathering myself quite a bit, so I'm always really appreciative when I see another modeler that's done a good weathering job, and Bill definitely has. Check out his video on it because it was really cool. He went right step by step through the whole process. Yeah, Rob, and you know, there's also a question to be asked depending on the application. Do you want to be able to do stuff with it after it's dried? There's certain applications where you want it to just stay and not be a problem. So always be smart with the glue choices that you make, for sure. This tester stuff, it's non-toxic too, which is really nice. I really love using it for anything that needs to dry clear, obviously. I like using super glue for the lenses themselves when I'm adhering the lenses to the LEDs. But from there on in, it's the Tester's Clear Part Cement. If it smells good, Rob. Rob, this is not kindergarten, sir. Although I will say, genuinely, the tester stuff, I can't remember if it's this one. I'm gonna smell it on camera. No, it's not that one. One of the Tester's Clear Part Cement, this is the non-toxic one, like I said, but one of them is really, really good. It smells like citrus. Okay, that I'm not gonna do, Bill. I'm not gonna taste it on camera. I can't remember. There's something that I accidentally tasted the other day. I had a little bit of it on my finger, and I was trying to wipe dirt off of something. I licked the finger and realized that it was realized I still had a little bit of it on. It was quite the surprise when I stuck my thumb to my tongue, but I digress. Isn't there a scene in that Billy Madison, the Adam Sandler movie, where he goes back to kindergarten and he just starts eating glue again? Fully grown adults eating glue. Gotta love it. So I'll tell you, I actually had this apart last night, and I was about to gut it last night, but I decided, and that'd be something fun to do on camera. So here we go. We're looking at the inside of the locomotive. I can also show you what it is we're going to use for a decoder. I don't know that we are going to get that far into the process tonight, but we're using something very similar, actually, to the Tsunami product that we put in that AC44. This is an open wire end Lock Sound 5 decoder. It's very small form factor, so I'm actually going to pull this whole board out of here, and we won't need to worry about that taking up space anymore. And then Bill doesn't know this, but because we didn't really explicitly discuss this, but he's actually going to get LED headlights in this locomotive as well. So I'm going to be pulling out the incandescent bulbs here. Those are really, really prone to burning out. So whenever I do an Atherogenesis install, I always make sure that I replace with LEDs. So I'll do a very similar process actually to the lenses that I've done here. I've got these Details West lenses that you can do the same thing with. You just take that dab of super glue on the LED, pop it on the lens, and then they fit perfectly into the housings for the headlights and everything. And because they have those lenses on, they look, pretty much dead on accurate. Looks phenomenal. So we'll be doing that at some point soon. I had to order new ones. I usually keep a supply of those on hand because I like to use them so much. I had to order new ones, and I don't think that they've shipped yet. So that bill might end up being the thing that delays this project the most, because I mean, other than that, we're ready to kind of plug right along on this. Bill is also getting a scale sound system speaker in his locomotive as well. When I put in the order for Matt's AC4400, as well as the 1804 project that I just completed. Oh, and another exciting project that I'll do eventually, I also have the speaker for the very last B23 that I'll end up doing, which is 2303 here. This currently has an NCE decoder in it, and you just need to do ditch lights. Oh, the handrails are popped off. Oh well. I'll eventually be doing ditch lights in this, sound install, and putting in a scale sound system speaker in that as well. But when I came across the undecorated B23 and the chance to do the custom painted 2308 came up, the decoder that I did have set aside for the 2303 project is kind of being allocated to the 2308 project because I kind of wanted to move that up the list. It's just a project I'm more excited for, you know what I mean? So 2303, I'm excited to have that done eventually, but the 2308 project I think is going to move up the priority list in front of it for the time being at least. Shouldn't take me too long once I'm finally ready to do 2308 or 2303. That's a really simple project compared to this full custom paint on the 2308. So pretty quick. And I do also actually, which is nice, I have a spare generic New Run Atlas scale sound system speaker already on hand for the 2308 build. So that'll be nice to be able to just pop that in there pretty easily. And that'll have scale sound system in it then too. So yeah, let's dive into tear down here. Oh man, I've been neglecting you guys in the chat. Let's see what's going on here. Talking about eating glue, of course, of course. So Rob, okay, Rosie's. I think I've had this discussion with you before, but if you want to act like a local, you don't call it Rosie's. Jordan calls it that, but that's not what we call it here. It is just Ralph's here. That's what we call it. So if you want to be the local Burgeonite, you just call it Ralph's, not Rosie's. All right, we are gutting. Popping out all the screws. We won't end up needing the two that are connecting the board here. I do need to make sure that I hold on to the two that are for the weight here, because this weight is actually going to be removed. And then these scale sound system speakers, man, they are the bee's knees. This is just going to pop right in. You can see it's already got the holes in there. It's got the hole for the truck wires to go right through. It's set up and ready to plug right in. These things are always, always awesome. It's okay, Rob. We forgive you here in Bergen. We're a welcoming community, and we're okay with just a couple of mistakes. You just got to try to remember going forward, but it'll be okay if you don't. Nope, it's always just been Ralph's here. For anybody who that's not local, Ralph and Rosie's is the local pizzeria here in Bergen. They have a specialty sauce called sweet sauce. It's not, their own thing. It's more of a Western New York thing in general, but they might be honestly the original pizzeria that did it, because they've been doing it a long, long time. But that's the pizzeria that Rob is talking about. Now I want some, Rob. Jeez. But yeah. Okay, we got the 9-pin board off of there, out of the way. We now have a shell that's completely on its own. We now have a chassis here on its own. And we should be able to, pop the weight off. And just so that it's done and out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and put in the speaker here as well. And then I'll get it screwed in. Maybe we are going to start installing the decoder on this. I whipped through that teardown a lot faster than I thought I was going to. Oh, that's interesting, Scott. I actually, bit of a story. Oh, interesting. Did they want me? Yeah, they want me to put it in this way. Interesting. So maybe we won't secure this down yet, because I got to wire in the wires first. Interesting story, though. I had an MP15 myself that was numbered for 396 on the Finger Lakes. And I decided a couple of months ago that really it was pushing it to have that in my era. And now that I'm backdating even further, it's way outside my era. But I had looked into putting in a Keep Alive on that thing and decided against it. I can see where you're saying, though, that in the control stand, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it, but there's totally room in there for a small capacitor. So that's interesting to know for sure. Well, Bill, I might make it look easy, but that's just because, you know, gosh, I would like to go back and count. Well, actually, I don't think I could go back and count the amount of decoder installs I've done, but a lot of this is, you know, just muscle memory at this point. So, okay, I think it's this one that's going to be. I don't even know why I'm screwing this in. I need to solder in the speaker leads from the decoder first, but good to know it fits, I guess. Okay, so let's pop this back off. Turn the soldering iron back on. Oh, interesting, Scott. So, okay, there's not really actually room stock. It's got it. There's a little bit of modification that needs to be done. That's good to know. That's cool. Yeah, Rob, there's a ton of them. There's a 6000 series that are XNNWs and now SD40-3s. There's the 3000 series that are X-Conrails. There's actually like 2 or 3 different series in the 3000s that are different. X-Conrail, X-Southern, you know. The X-Southern high hoods, gosh, what number series were those? I can't even remember. HO6, so they have one SD40-3 right now. And they have one X-Conrail. So I think the X-Conrail it's like 3969 or something like that. It's close to that. Remind me later, and I can check the Finger Lakes Facebook group and get you up to date road numbers for the X-Conrail ones that are in gang mills right now. Yeah, that's interesting, Scott. I mean, I was looking at the ESU ones. I tend to, because I'm using all ESU products, all ESU decoders, I tend to try to use their keep alives just because they've got a proprietary board on those that, you know, makes the decoder safer during programming. And their smallest one, I had one on hand when I was looking at my MP15, and I couldn't figure out how to make it fit. So, but that's not to say that it's not possible. I'm sure with a little bit of ingenuity, it's possible. It just frankly was not. I mean, I don't mean it in a rude way, but it wasn't worth my time for a locomotive that you know, really ultimately doesn't fit my era. It was just kind of cool to have, cool to do as a project. So, okay, so this decoder, the speaker leads that I'm looking for are brown on ESU. And just so that I don't freak everybody out, I will double check, but I'm fairly certain they're brown on the open wires. I feel like I'm unfolding a map as I'm driving here. Okay, yes, brown. Perfect. So I do like to, when I'm doing scale sound system speaker installs, I always try to make sure that I'm securing the speaker down, weighing it down in some capacity, just to make sure that it doesn't jump up and make friends with my soldering iron, because they are magnetic, most speakers. So I like to be careful of that, just so that I don't ruin everything. Let's go ahead and, oops, I am going to move this shell right out of the way and into a safe place so that I don't damage it for Bill. I'm sure he'd be very sad if I did. I would, of course, take care of it for him, but... Okay, so those are tinned, and we can get our speaker leads on. Like I said, both browns here is what we're looking for. Let's put some thought into which way we want the leads to go. I want them to go this way. I want them to go this way off the speaker because this is going to be at the front of the locomotive, and I want them to come backwards without any sort of trouble. And you know what? The other thing I want to do is actually, I want to run them through the little hole here before I do anything else. Now, okay, let's think about this a little bit further. This is new territory for me. I never think about things before I do it. Let's just make sure everything's going to fit okay with that all done. That had to be really encouraging, Bill, to hear me say that as I'm working on your locomotive, that I never think about doing things before I do it. I probably gave you a little bit of a scare there. Don't worry, you're in good hands. Okay, yes, so that's going to fit just fine. So I will run the speaker leads through. I don't need to do any sort of extensions. It'll work great. Let's get our tweezers / weight set up out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and put these in. Yeah, Dennis, don't you see the smoke, wafting onto this screen from my head as I'm thinking hard? That's not smoke from the soldering iron. It's from my ears. Oh, good, Bill. I'm glad you've got faith in me. That makes one of us. No, I'm kidding again. I'm kidding. Okay, so our leads are on. And so these are the two leads from the front truck. I'm going to go ahead and put those right through the little hole in the speaker here that they provide on these. And then I should be good to put this in place and screw it down. All the Alcos I had around. Hey, don't forget though too, I still model vintage GE here on the Finger Lakes. It's vintage GE is often forgot about as a mean sounding smoke 'em up locomotive. That's what made me fall in love with the Finger Lakes, is seeing the show that they put on. It's just as good, if not better, than Alcos, in my humble opinion. Okay, so we've got that done. We might as well just jump into getting the full assortment of wires here on the chassis wired into the decoder, and then by that time we'll probably be ready to call it for the night. I'll go ahead and get everything tested off screen, and then it's really just going to become a waiting game as I wait for those lenses to come in so that I can do the LEDs as well. Okay, so I remember what leads are the speakers on these ESU decoders, but I don't remember what the rest of them are. So I am going to make sure that I'm very careful and reference the user guide here for the rest of this. So this should be the one that we're looking at here. This is the Locksound 5 with the open wire. Locksound 5, yes. Right? Yes, yep, that's the one. They all utilize a very similar wiring diagram anyway, so it's all good. Okay, so heat shrink tubing. Let's get a little bit of this cut up. Oh, Tim, we got to get you out to the Finger Lakes. You got to experience those. Maybe you'll have a chance, actually, Tim, if you're going to go to the op session, the round robin op session that's at Jim Fairbanks. He's already in Canandaigua, so it's not that far to keep going a little bit further east to Geneva and hear some GEs on Sunday morning before the op session. So could be worth a shot. Okay, so let's worry about our motor leads first, and then we'll do the trucks. Or should we do the trucks first and the motor leads second? Let's do the trucks first. The trucks are a little bit unique in an open wire harness like this because what I like to do is I first like to join the truck wires together. So the two from this side and the two from that side, I join them together, solder them together first, and then I solder them into the decoder itself. So I'm going to go ahead and just get the, what would this be? This would be the engineer side, I think, is the one I'm working on here, because this is the front of the locomotive. Right? Yes? No? Maybe? Then again, it's a head switcher, so I don't know. Which side would it be? Somebody out there's got to know, right? That's understandable, Tim. Plus, I mean, the one for Ned's, I'm sure, although for you it's a little bit closer, but that's a long drive too. So yeah, I understand. Oh, you've got Heath's Riverside transfer car there, Dennis. That's pretty cool. Man, these Athearn used some really thick insulation on these. They're not really a very thick gauged wire, but they really put some thick insulation on them, so it's hard to get these to stay together. And I do it quick before they fall apart here. Okay, so there's that one done. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna actually flip this around just so that I can see a little bit better. And then, oh, you know what? I do have to double check that I even have the right ones here because they could have gotten crisscrossed in the thing. Okay, perfect, I do. All I need to do is do a little wiggle test and you can see if I'm pushing on this one, the wire here starts to move. So I know that I have the right ones connected there. I should have checked that first, I really should have, but wouldn't be flying by the seat of my pants if I did, would it? I'm really leaning into this janky modeler narrative tonight, probably more than I should be. Okay, those ones are good. Let's get them soldered together here. Beautiful. Yeah, there's enough on there. Okay, so let's get some heat shrink tubing prepped on these, and then I will get them wired into the decoder itself. I will say, in my humble opinion, that the mark of somebody who knows what they're doing on a decoder install is somebody who doesn't have an excessive amount of electrical tape in an open wire harness install. If they're using heat shrink tubing, they usually know what they're doing enough to know that your decoder install is going to work properly, which is good. I was at one point in my life a electrical tape connoisseur, so this is all from personal experience that I've learned this. Okay, so we have, let's see, so we have our right track is going to be red, so that's going to be this one, and then the left track is going to be black. Here is one thing that's a bit of a gripe for me on these ESU decoders. They label it as red here, and there is an orange in here, but this is a very orange colored red. They could do a lot better job making sure that the red is a deeper red so that there's no question whether or not it is orange or red. And that's, I don't know, maybe that's a little nitpicky, but they could do a better job. I've second guessed myself plenty of times doing these open wire installs. But we know this is red for sure, and we should be good to solder it right into the right-hand rails here. All right, come on here. You guys might not be able to see very well from this angle, but there we go. Okay. Oh, hey, we got Adam Cruz out here too. He's I know I always see him in Heath's Discord all the time. Welcome to the live stream, Adam. Oh, I was thinking of starting up the laser cutter. Sweet. Yeah, I see you and Joey talking about laser cutter stuff all the time. That's pretty cool. I think something O scale, right, Adam, is what you're making on the laser cutter. I think I very briefly caught a little bit of that conversation you and Joey were talking about, but feel free to share more. Already going nuts making stuff. That's awesome. I always am fascinated by that side of the hobby. It's something that eventually I could see myself getting into, but right now it's I've got a whole big layout here to the left of me, and I'm stupid enough to be taking on a a Freemo project as well here coming up, and who knows what else. So maybe it'll happen eventually, but for right now, we've got enough going on. Oh, that's interesting. Huh? A weight ruler remix of the interesting stuff. Cool. All right, we are 2 minutes from 9 o'clock. That was going to be my cutoff time. I'm going to wrap this. Well, I'm going to finish this decoder up before we cut off the live stream, or at least finish up wiring it to the chassis. So we might go a few minutes past 9, but that's okay. Okay, so yeah, 2 more leads to go here. All we need to do is motor positive and negative. I believe positive is going to be the orange and gray. Okay, perfect. So let me just go ahead and tin, the motor leads themselves. And honestly, I really should have trimmed these back a little bit further. There's enough room in here to wire manage as is, but I am going to make sure that I trim back the motor wires on the decoder harness a little bit, just so that I'm starting to save a little bit of space in this inside of the locomotive. It'll make for a cleaner install in the end. So let's just make sure we don't want to go too far because we want to make sure we still have workability, but I think I can cut off about 1 inch and still be fine. Okay, and then my other one is the gray. I might as well go ahead and get that prepped too. Tin all 4 of them at the same time. Okay, let's get them tinned. Actually, I will, I'll even get the heat shrink tubing prepped and ready so that we can really just fly through it here. Yeah, Dennis, I wouldn't mind eventually actually doing a comprehensive video on this eventually. But yeah, feel free. I've done a couple of actually decoder installs on live stream. I've done board style ones too, if you want to go back and try to find those. Glad that it's seeming straightforward enough in this live stream that you're feeling you might be able to use it as a reference. It's cool. Yeah, I don't have Heath behind me tonight. Usually I'm kind of Heath's cold opener. But he's off in New Orleans for work, for the circus. So here I am. I won't worry about running long tonight because I don't have to go catch Heath's stream myself. Okay. There's that one. That one. And then we will heat shrink and wrap it up. This is the challenge with these open wire decoder installs, is you're constantly having to be careful with other wires so that you don't melt anything with the tip of your soldering iron or anything like that. I've had that happen before and it's not fun. I actually had a really bad thing happen once when I was new to decoder installs. I had a Kato AC444 in the CEFX Bluebird scheme. Really hard to find locomotive. Finally found one on eBay, and I was going through the process of installing an open wire decoder on it, and I actually had the shell of the locomotive way too close to the soldering iron, and I melted part of the shell itself. I was immensely disappointed in myself after that day. Gotcha. Yeah, Dennis, I'll definitely try to make sure that I tune in for tomorrow's if I get the chance. I've got a big video that I plan to start working on tomorrow regarding that Fremo build that I'm doing, but I should have time to pop by for sure. Yeah, and Dennis, I love weathering too. I don't know if you've seen that stuff, but I've had some fun weathering. We'll put it that way. All right, well, that's it. We've got the entire decoder wired up to everything that's on the chassis. We've got a couple of different accessory wires. You know, we've got the headlights that are the yellow and I guess is it purple or blue? I don't know. And then we've got the accessory wires for the ditch lights that we'll get those all wired in as soon as there's time. But for now, I think we're going to wrap it up here. So, all right, everybody. Thank you all very much for tuning in. It was very fun to have such a lively chat tonight. That's not something that's well, I shouldn't say that. I usually have a lively chat, but it was a little bit more lively tonight, and it was nice to see. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.